All right, guys, thanks again. Welcome again to Keep Moving Forward, a series by Carlos Dones. Today I have a good friend of mine, a mentor of mine, somebody who I really, really, really respect, Vinnie Tortorich. And let me tell you a little bit about Vinnie. Vinnie is an author, Fitness Confidential, great book. That's how I got to know Vinnie. He's also a podcaster, big time, over 1 million downloads a month, Fitness Confidential as well. That's the name of the podcast. A regular on the Adam Carolla Show, a celebrity fitness trainer. And when I say that, I literally mean he trains celebrities, not just like I train celebrities. He actually does it. He gets people in shape for movies. He's also a business owner, Pure Vitamin Club and Pure Coffee Club. Great products. And he's also an endurance athlete. Well, help me welcome Vinnie Tortorich. Hey, Vinnie, thanks for showing up, man.
Carlos, I'm going to tell your audience something about you and me that they might not know. We actually met for the first time in a parking lot.
We did. We did.
It wasn't like a chance meeting. We planned on meeting in a parking lot.
We did. We did. We sure did. I remember that exactly, man. But go ahead.
No, it was, it was the early days of the book had just become like a big deal. Like
it was
out of nowhere. Fitness Confidential. It took me by surprise because, we wrote it. It took a year to write it and to get it to a publisher. And then we ended up self-publishing and the whole thing. And the book just kind of took off. And then all of a sudden, it was a thing. And I was still doing what I was doing for a living. You mentioned training people. I trained celebrities in Hollywood for a lot of years. And my passion had always been bicycles and riding bikes for long distances, and
yes,
fascinated with that whole thing. And one of my side businesses, one of the two ways I made money was, one was training people, but the other one was doing bike fits.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even look at the bike fits as part of my income stream. I did it because I was angry that so many people set people up wrong on a bike. Because my degree is in exercise physiology and nutrition. And when you talk about exercise physiology, it's how the body moves in a certain plane. And a bicycle is one of the things where you can absolutely find the correct position. And no two people are alike. You might be long-waisted. You might be short-waisted with long legs. You could be, your arms could be long, if you have a computer program, which is what was going on at the time, you get these computer programs and you set people up and it goes, okay, this is your perfect measurement. And they were charging these poor people $400 and $500 to do.
Yes, they were.
And I was like, wait a minute. I was taught how to do this in college. And also I was taught by, every old Italian guy I knew. And when I moved to California, it was a young Mexican guy that I knew, also named Carlos, who would work on my bikes. And he knew how to fit a bike like no one's business, but he could never leave the bike shop. So when people would say to me, hey, where do you go? And I said, well, this guy Carlos. And they would go, we can't get there at work and this, that, and the whole thing. So I just started that as a sideline business. And I was shocked at how many people started turning up. Number one, because I only charged what they could afford to pay, and I never charged more than $75. So I would tell people it's $75, and they would go, I don't have that. And it was like, do you have $50 or $40? Yeah, I can afford. Okay, I'll do it for $40. But for that, you need to come to me. I'm not driving to your house for $40. And I would do that kind of thing. But yeah, that's how we met. You needed a bike fit. And you were serious about going long on a bike. And so it means a lot to me when I can stand in a parking lot, you meet a guy, he hops out of his truck.
Yep.
And I was on the way to a meeting, you were on the way to a meeting, we met in this parking lot and boom.
Yeah.
And people must have thought you were nuts, right?
It was crazy. I was training for the Ironman Puerto Rico at the time, and I was also training for a 175-mile run across the desert. And I've read your book, and I was looking for something good, and I came across the book on Audible, and I listened to it like in a day or two, and I remember it said, I do bike fits, and if you want it, I do it. And I'm like, so I Googled you, and I found you, and I found the email, and that's how it happened. And then, to my surprise, you answered the email. I'm like, holy shit, this guy really answers. And they're like, yeah, come down to the valley. I'm here. And I'm like, really? I think you told me it was like $70. I said, okay, I get there. You spend like 30, 40 minutes talking to me. And then I take out my money and you're like, no, I don't want your money. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the? And that was it, man. That was it. And then I hired you, right? You helped me out with figuring out how to go long on NSNG in the desert where there's, where I have to carry my own food, and was probably one of the best races, one of the best experience I've ever had in my life. And, thanks to you, and I really, really appreciate that, man. That was an amazing race that I had because of you, and ever since that day, every race I do now is strictly NSNG. So much appreciated.
Well, look, I tell everyone, Carlos, it's, I only make suggestions for a living. You guys actually go out there and pound the pavement and do the
Mm-hmm.
miles and everything else. So when people, sometimes I'll see on Twitter, they'll go, thank you, man, I lost 200 pounds, or thank you, man, I just ran 100 miles. Or, like, don't thank me. I didn't do anything. I gave you some suggestions. You went out and did the work. And that's all, thank yourself, and you and I over the years have talked a lot. When you were doing rim to rim, you were trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure out, how do I do overnight nutrition?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And none of that is easy. Well, the easy way is to do it with a lot of sugar, because all the companies package the sugar stuff. At the time, there was nothing, like F-bomb is out there now.
Right.
But there was no F-bomb 5 years ago. We were out there I was eating pemmican and everything else that I could
Mm-hmm.
find. This company, U.S. Wellness Meats, made this horrible, like my dogs wouldn't even eat it. That's what it is. It's
Yeah.
just pemmican.
It's tough.
And
Those things, I tasted those things you had recommended. I'm like, man, I can't do this, Vinny.
they're all but it worked. It all kind of worked at the beginning. And, now, I'm coming up with stuff over at, you mentioned my company, Pure Vitamin Club, and I'm drinking some of my coffee right now from Pure Coffee Club. But I started a company called NSNG Foods. My company, my overall parent company is called NSNG Lifestyles. That's how I pay taxes. So, Uncle Sam, you guys know that very well. That company that sends you a gob of money,
There you go.
NSNG Lifestyles. But now we have NSNG Foods. And we have a food that I think all of you guys are going to be, hankering for, that could be eaten out and about. It's a play on something that's already out there, but it's a high fat version of it.
Okay.
And I think everyone's going to like what we've done there, or at least I hope so.
That's good. That's good. So, Vinny, so here we are today, and we're going through this really unprecedented time in history that, I'm 50, I'm going to be 50, and I've never seen anything like this. And I can't speak for you, but I'm sure you haven't gone through this where everyone's stuck at home and everybody, about the quarantine 15, right? Everybody's trying to gain 15. I know you're doing the quarantine 5, which is you want to gain 5 pounds of muscle. So I get it, but not everybody is doing, like I ran 50 miles on my treadmill a couple weeks ago, which was one of the hardest freaking things I've ever did. And I do it because I enjoy stuff like that, but not everybody's in the same boat. So today, what can you share that can be constructive for people who are sitting at home right now? They haven't really moved. They're doing a lot of Netflix, a lot of video games. They might go to the park and walk back home, but they're not really engaged in a healthy lifestyle. What can you recommend for them to do right now? Easy stuff.
Well, it comes down to what people always say, what's the best exercise? And my answer sounds somewhat curt. I'll say, well, it's the one you'll do, and, when this whole thing started, like, I'm going to give you an example. Like when it all started, nobody knew what to do the first couple of days. They were talking about maybe shutting down, and there was no government mandate shutdown or anything. I went to my gym one day and I said, are we going to be open? And they go, oh yeah, but we're fine. We're not shutting down. We haven't heard anything. I went, oh, okay. So the very next day I went to the gym and it was closed. And I was like, okay, this may go on for a while. So I immediately I went down to Play It Again Sports, where you could buy used fitness equipment. People were running out of there with stuff, just a kettlebell or grabbing whatever they could grab. They weren't buying baseball gloves or mitts or whatever. They were buying anything they could find that looked fitness related. And as you know, but your audience doesn't, I moved to Virginia, but we don't have a permanent house yet. So I own the house we live in, but this is a rental house that I used to rent. And all of my stuff is still in storage. So I can't get to anything. And so I immediately went on to Facebook Marketplace that day and found a guy who had to close his gym, and he was getting ready to open another gym. And I talked to him, and he goes, man, you can come down and buy any equipment you want. I got to feed my family. And I even told Serena, it's like, I like to haggle on prices and the whole thing. I did not haggle. Whatever the guy said he wanted for anything, I just said, fine, just. And I'm not a wealthy man, but his daughter was there, and it's like, man, you know, whatever you need to stay alive, bro. I'm buying. I bought a bench. I bought a bar. I bought some dumbbells. So I started doing that again. I started doing, you know, what I call my prison style workout, and I do it every day. I might take one day off every week, or that's been the average. But then I had another problem. It's like, wait a minute. I told myself I was going to do a lot of cardio every day because that's what I like to do. But I don't live in Los Angeles anymore where I can walk outside and find a mountain in my backyard. I have to actually get in the car and drive. And I'm still running a business from home, so I can't go. When I lived in LA, you knew where I lived.
Yes.
I could drive for 3 minutes or just jog for 7 minutes to get to a mountain, run for 90 minutes, come back home, and go back to work.
That's right.
That ain't happening here.
That's
so
right.
I called up Amazon and I said, hey, send me one of those Buddy Lee jump ropes. Buddy Lee is a good friend of mine. All of his jump ropes that I own are in storage. Got myself a couple of jump ropes. One of them is sitting, I'm pointing to where it is. It's hanging up in that doorway. And I started doing that. And I went, okay, I want to get back on my bike, but I don't have my helmets. I don't have this, but I do have a pair of mountain bike shoes here. I put some SPDs on one of my road bikes that's sitting out in that hall. And I don't know if you can see behind me.
A little bit.
There's a set of Kreitler rollers that I just Kreitler, you know, and look, I get it. Not everybody can go out and start purchasing stuff, right? And I shouldn't be doing it either, but my health is that important to me that when this is over with, yeah, sure, I have duplicates of things that I have in storage. I could just go sell one of them later.
That's right.
And probably get 75% of my money back.
That's right.
But it's important to me now. And here's why. I walked in, my brother-in-law is here from England. He got stuck here. And we've been watching crazy, stupid movies every night through this whole thing. And he wanted to watch he had never seen, or I had never seen, I can't think of the name of it. It's Stallone and Statham and all of them in the same movie.
Oh, yeah.
Has been, Misfit.
Yeah.
What was it called? The Dispendables.
Expendables, yeah.
Yeah, Expendables. So I'm watching this movie and I'm like, man, because, you know, like Dolph Lundgren is about my age and the guy looks amazing. And Statham is about my age. He looks amazing. Stallone has got to have 15 years on me. He looks amazing. I'm looking at all these guys. Chuck Norris has got to be 75.
Yep.
Amazing, right? And I'm looking at all these guys and I'm going, you know what? These guys are still working out through the COVID-19. You're not going to see a fat Stallone. You're not going to see a fat Dolph Lundgren. When this is over with and they start making movies again, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to probably look more Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson than anyone else. And right around that time was when I read that COVID-15, they're going, oh yeah, people are going to put on 15 pounds through this COVID thing, 15 pounds of fat. And I said, okay, Statham is not going to put it on. The Rock is not going to put it on. Stallone's certainly, Schwarzenegger, they're not going to put the weight on. They're going to add muscle. So I'm going to add muscle too. So I called it the COVID-5. Put on 5 pounds. And guess what? You don't need anything. My buddy, Jerry Teixeira, who you might want to have on this program because Jerry is the most important person you can have right now. I know you got my good friend from Florida that's going to do the Danny Vega. By the way, have you seen him?
Oh, my God.
Looks like he's ready for competition right now.
I know. I saw him today. I'm like, Danny, what are you doing?
Like, Danny, Jesus Christ, bro, you're going to pop out of your skin.
Oh my God. He told me I'm fat right now. And he posted a picture that I go, yeah, Dan, you are not fat.
I could see the mitochondria swimming under his skin. He said,
Man.
and he's ripped out. And, Jerry Teixeira is different than Danny. Danny is good with the weights and everything. Jerry does all the body weight exercises.
Okay.
And he's been on my show a couple of times. People keep saying to me, why don't you do those kinds of videos? And I go, why? When you have Jerry Teixeira, he should be showing you that, So, you don't need to go do what I did and buy stuff that I'm going to sell in 6 months, because I own it already anyway.
Right.
I'm here doing push-ups, sit-ups. I got my ball. You can hear me pouncing on it right here. It's all around me right here, Carlos. And I see it every day. And when you see it, you do it. You have to get on it. You have to do it. I've been doing squats and lunges and wall. And when was the last time you did wall sits?
I know. I haven't done that in years, and I should be doing it. I'm a runner.
I mean, I'm doing wall sits again. It's like, wow, I haven't done this since I played high school basketball. It's,
I wanted to mention that there's a few. I admire you for a lot of things, but one of the main things that I admire you for is because you're such a giving, loving human being. That's number one. And number two, for people who don't know Vinnie, if you go look at Fitness Confidential, even just go Google that thing right now, and you'll see the cover. This man has a 8-pack. So what he's talking about is legit. It's not like he's just saying and spewing things. And this guy walks the talk. He talks and he's walking. He is who he is. So I want you to people understand that this guy is not blowing smoke up anybody's butt here. So Vinnie, I know that you have a saying that you say that exercise is the worst way to lose weight. Is that right? Kind of the way you say that?
Yeah, I always say that exercise is a poor way to lose weight.
Or to lose weight. So can you explain to me, because I know working out is great, and I'll be honest with you, I've even run marathons where I've ran 26 miles and I've gotten back home and the next day I weigh more than I did before I started the marathon. And it's because of the poor diet. So can you tell people a little bit about how important diet is versus working out?
Yeah, I picked it up that way 2 years ago, but I did it many years ago where I would train people to run marathons. Some of my clients would go, hey, I'm bored with all this. I want to run a marathon. And I would go, okay, let's run a marathon. And I would notice that they would gain weight during the course of training for the marathon. And not only did I notice they were gaining weight, but I noticed that at around the 4.5 hour mark, when those people, because that's where my clients would come in, and you're standing at the finish line and watching people come in at 4.5 hours, that's a respectable time to come in at 4 hours. That means you trained your ass off, right?
Yes, sir.
And some of these people had extra weight on them. And by the time you get to the 4.5 hour people, there's extra weight. And Carlos, you can even attest, being an ultra runner, you see ultra runners out there with saddlebags on their legs and guts and the whole thing.
Yep, you do.
Because you can't outrun sugars and grains. You don't burn that sugar off. It does its damage before you can burn it off. And that's just a fact of the matter. Maybe the stuff you're taking in while you're running, you're burning off. But if you think you're carbing up afterwards, no, you're fattening up.
That's right.
You're not carbing.
Yeah.
And if you think you're front loading carbs and you got to burn them while you're running, no. When that gets down there, if you're not burning them immediately, they get converted to a long chain triglyceride and get stored as a fat while you're running.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the number of people I've interviewed over the years that have actually put on 10, 15, 20 pounds training for a marathon. Think about that. They're running somewhere between 40 and 60 miles a week, more than they've ever run in their life, and they're getting fatter. That's proof that exercise is a poor way to lose weight. Now, with the correct diet and exercise, first off, with just the correct diet, you can lose weight. And I've had people, you see them on the internet, you see them on my Twitter.
Yes, I do.
Not by the hundreds now, by the thousands. And they're going, hey, I took this guy at his word. He said I never had to do 1 ounce of exercise. I lost the first 50 or 75 pounds without doing anything except changing my diet. And then they'll tell you after that, then I wanted to exercise. and that just doubled down on everything.
Mm,
You know,
yes,
some of these
yes.
people lose 200 pounds. You
Yep,
know, and
I've seen it. So, speaking about and staying with that theme, Vinny. So there's hundreds of diets out there. Like I mean, we can name them, but right now the popular ones is paleo, keto's huge, right? And then let's talk about yours: no sugars, no grains. So let's talk about those three, for example. Just keto and NSNG, which means no sugars, no grains. Basically, don't eat sugar and don't eat grains. And then we have keto. Can we talk a little bit about that so people can understand where you're coming from and how not working out results in losing weight if you have a good diet? Because people, believe it or not, they're going to sit here and say, it's impossible. I have to go put on that plastic thing on. I got to put the belt around my waist and I got to sweat. And if I don't sweat and if I don't wring sweat off my shirt, I'm not losing weight. Can you talk about that a little bit?
yeah, it's kind of strange, but back in the day, everyone thought that they had to sweat weight off and all of this kind of stuff. To answer your question more directly, though, keto, paleo, NSNG, my thing, Atkins, it's all the same thing. They're all within earshot of each other. And I don't care which one you decide to do. I don't make any, I don't charge anything for NSNG. I don't care if you, so if you want to call it NSNG, if you want to call it low carb, you call it whatever you want, I don't care. The only difference is, and the difference that I caution your audience to look out for, you will never see NSNG written on a food product unless I approve of it. As of right now, not one product on the planet has NSNG certified written on it because I haven't sold that to anyone. I own the trademark. It will be on my product when it comes out from NSNG Foods because I'm making the product. I know what it is. You can take keto and you can sell a bowl of sugar and you can legally put /keto right across the front. That is not governed by anybody. It is not trademarkable, right? So you could just put keto. You could put paleo. You can have a bowl of honey, put paleo on it. Well, there's nothing paleo about that, although bees probably were around in the Paleolithic era. That's not what the diet is, right? It's a low-carb diet, but nobody controls those words. So the FDA doesn't go, oh, no, 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 Nabisco, you can't put paleo or keto. They could put it on anything. It doesn't mean it's keto or paleo. So let me bring this one home for you. Whether you're doing Atkins, by the way, Atkins, once he died, the family sold the company. There's Atkins bars. You might as well be eating Snickers.
That's right.
There's all this crap. So whether you're doing Atkins or you're doing NSNG or paleo or keto, doesn't matter. You ask yourself these questions. Is it fresh food? Did it come from a package? Does it have seed oils in it? Does it have sugar and or high fructose corn syrup? Or does it have any kind of grain in it? If it has any of those things, throw it out. It will never be healthy for you, not for one day, ever. And I know you're living in Mexico now. Mexico, get over it with those corn and flour tortillas.
Man, they're everywhere, brother.
Not doing yourself any favors.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. So, Vinny, what would be considered NSNG? So when you say, I know what it is because I live it. What is considered NSNG? When you say, I am living NSNG, no sugars, no grains, the simplest term as possible, what does that mean?
If it's a grain, meaning if it's wheat, if it's corn, if it's cassava, if it's any kind of, if it's quinoa, if it's
Quinoa.
millet, or anything like any kind of grain, off the table.
So oatmeal, off the table.
Oatmeal, gone. Rice, gone. Just out. Okay, so no grains, no sugars, okay? Table sugar, syrups, like, anything you would put on pancakes, which you can't have anyway, so.
Yeah, let's talk about that for 1 second, Vinny, before you go to the next. Sugar is really important in your PDF, because you have a PDF at vinnietortorich.com. If you download a PDF, how many sugar names are there? How many different names do they use for sugar? Really quickly,
I
so
want
people.
to say it's just shy of 70 the last time we
70.
counted.
Got it. I just want to make
It
people
might be
understand that.
68 or something like that. Some of the things like sugar will come under natural flavor. It'll come under natural sugar. It'll come under turbinado is something they'll call it. And then you have all the sugar alcohols,
Mm-hmm.
erythritol. Sometimes now they're calling it monk fruit, or it'll
Monk
come under
fruit.
the beginning of, it'll say citrus juice or
Mm-hmm.
juice concentrate, or there's at least 68, if not 70, of those. And that list is growing because as the consumer gets smarter, they come up with more and more ways to do it.
Got it. Got it. So
Crazy.
going back to NSNG. So becoming NSNG, is there a limit about the carbs that we should be eating? And if so, what carbs do we need to be eating? Like what are we people going to be eating? Okay, I'm gonna try NSNG, but I feel weak and I need sugar. Vinny, what do I eat?
Well, first off, carbs are one of the three macronutrients that we recognize for the body. It's the only one of the three that's non-essential. It's not, you do not need carbohydrates to live. And at first you're going to feel like you're balancing on a tightrope and there's no net underneath. It's like, oh my God, I need more carbs. I tell people at that point, just eat more fat. Just consume more fat until you get used to not eating the carbs. And once you get used to not eating carbs, you'll be okay, right? So that, there are no good carbs. Now, you're going to go, what about fruit and vegetables? Okay. Those are carbohydrates. And they have a lot of phytonutrients that are good for you. They also have a lot of fiber. Even though you don't need fiber, that fiber will suspend all of the sugar that's in that carbohydrate. So when it comes to vegetables, the best ones are cruciferous vegetables. You got your broccoli, your cauliflower, your Brussels sprouts. Although it's not a cruciferous, you have asparagus, kale. I don't know why people eat kale, but it's good for you. I just don't like it. Spinach is good. And if you like the zucchinis and all that, that's all fine, right? That's the best vegetables. When it comes to fruit, the best fruit is avocado. And the Mexicans know something about the avocado.
They do a little bit,
Guys
yeah.
took one of the best tasting fruits in the world and figured out how to make it better.
They did.
I mean, not just a little better, they made it better.
Yep.
So thank you, Mexico, for coming up with guacamole.
No kidding, right? How about strawberries and blueberries and blackberries and stuff like that?
All of those are good. So here are your good ones. You got your avocados and your olives, the best fruits by far. And you should consume those as early and as often as possible. Blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, any kind of berry in season, not the ones that they're shipping up from Chile and they're picking them when they're green and they're getting ripe in some kind of frozen sequence. No, wait until something is in season and then enjoy it. But that's about it for fruit. Grapes are high in sugar, anything tropical, bananas or mangoes and pineapples, horrible. You might as well be eating a bowl of sugar.
So when you say horrible, why do you say horrible? Because you tell people, oh, I'm eating a mango, oh, that's nutritious, or I'm eating watermelon. Why you say horrible? Why? Explain to people, why is it so horrible?
Because the sugar content is so high that it causes a glycemic spike. And once you have a glycemic spike, your body has to release. I'm going to try to keep it as simple. I don't like to get science in podcasts, but whenever you have a spike, we have to release insulin to cover that spike, right? And when you keep releasing insulin on top of insulin on something like that, you become insulin resistant, right? It's kind of like a guy, like if you never drink beer and you have one beer, you're gonna feel high, you're gonna feel good. But if you're a guy who drinks 5 beers every day, you need 7 to get the same level of tipsy as the guy that never drinks beer.
Right.
One. Same with insulin. If you're always piling that insulin on from eating grains, from eating papaya, from eating cake, from eating all of this stuff, you're just dropping it and dropping it. You become insulin resistant, right? And there's other hormones that you become resistant to. There's leptin and ghrelin. One is supposed to make you feel full, and the other one is, ghrelin is supposed to, tell you when, make you feel hungry to eat. And when those switches are thrown in the wrong direction, you always feel hungry and you never feel full. Mm. And that's what happens to people. I grew up Italian, and Italians are the same way. They'll eat a lot of pasta and a lot of bread and more pasta with their bread and some bread with pasta. And they'll go, I can't understand how I had heart disease and I got this big bloated stomach. Well, I kind of understand. And let me explain to you how. Let me explain what happened,
So, Vinny, so today we have, again, all these people at home, and they really haven't done much of anything other than eat a lot of pizza, probably fried chicken, and just barbecue it, whatever they're doing. But they're eating high concentrations of carbs and probably not oils like corn oil and canola oil, all those things, but they're not working out. So somebody's watching this podcast and watching this video, and they're saying, okay, tell me, what are 3 things that I can do today to start getting on the road to a better, healthy lifestyle? What would you say to them?
The first thing is, if you're doing nothing, get outside and walk. Nothing is going to beat fresh air and sunshine, period. The doctors are even coming out going, oh, people need more sunshine. People are sitting in, playing these games or whatever they do. Outside, get out, go outside. Look, I went out this morning and did a lot of stuff, got my workout in. I get it. You're not me, but, go outside and walk. The earth is still out there, folks. You can go there and just graze around, just move around the earth. Just go do something. And tell yourself you're going to do it every day. Don't go, well, I'll walk today. I'm good for a couple of days. Every day, get out and walk. Just move. If you can accomplish that, maybe get a jump rope. They're cheap. I bought the most expensive one I could find, and I couldn't get to $30 on it with shipping. And it was because my friend sells those, and I wanted to support him. They sell jump ropes for $5, right? Or you can make one. You can make a jump rope. All you need is a piece of string.
And you do. That's all you need.
I'm going to name drop here for a second, but years ago, I was my friend Howie Mandel. I walked into his house, and his mom used to come down and spend long periods of time because he's Canadian, and she was still living in Canada. So when it would get cold up there, she would spend long months with Howie down in Southern California. And he was famously one of my clients. And I walked in the house one day, and she was in a gym, and she was making a motion like she was jumping rope, except there was no rope in her hand. Now, Howie is one of the biggest practical jokers in the world. And I went, okay. This is a practical joke. I'm being filmed, because he's got a lot of filming equipment. He used to do shows like that,
Right, the prank.
So I'm going to play along, and I go, Mrs. Mandel? He goes, yeah, and she doesn't stop. She's still spinning the rope, and she's still jumping, I said, Mrs. Mandel, what are you doing? He goes, I'm jumping rope. And I said, do you realize that you don't have a rope in your hand? And she goes, I do. But she doesn't stop. She's still jumping. And I'm just sure that there's a camera on me, right? I said, Mrs. Mandel, and she's an older woman. I said, why are you jumping without a rope? And she said, I started doing this a few years ago. I said, really? And then I realized, oh, wait, she's serious. There's no camera on me. I said, why? She said, I got too old. I started getting tangled up in a rope. I kept missing. I would always have to start over. She goes, I'm still doing the same amount of exercise, just no rope. Mm. It made all the sense in the world. The woman was 80 at the time.
Wow.
When we were having this conversation. She's skipping rope. The funny part was when she was done, she faked a couple of crisscrosses and pretended to throw the rope on the ground.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And I'm like, wow.
But she was moving her body. She was moving her body.
And then, Howie walked in right after that. And I said, your mom was jumping rope without a rope. He goes, yeah, she's been doing that for a few years. And I said, huh. He goes, I'm going to tell you something else she does. She jogs around the interior of her house in Canada naked.
Okay.
And I said, why is she doing that? He said, because She doesn't want to sweat up the clothes. When she's done, she just jumps right in the shower.
Love it.
She's the greatest ever.
Practical. It's practical,
Yeah,
man. Oh, I love it. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
It's like, yeah, she's like, I'm just running around the house naked. Why get something sweaty?
Hey, I love it. So you say, so walk a little bit, jump rope a little bit, and a third thing, what would you recommend they can do?
Uh, do something more, with the way you could do lunges, you could do push-ups, you could do sit-ups, and make it a regimen, even if it's every other day, whatever your regimen is. I get it. You're home, the kids are driving you nuts. This is going to make you feel better. Get
Mm,
the kids involved. Don't just let them sit there playing these video games. If you have kids, get them involved. You
yes.
know, look, I see the kids out on the street in my neighborhood. They have the little scooters out and
Mm,
the bikes, and the parents are in the street and everything. Get out and do stuff, man. Don't let these things, these don't stare at a 2 by 4 inch piece of glass all day long.
yes.
This is not what we were meant to do.
Yeah.
Get out and do stuff, and don't just do it because we have this COVID thing going on.
Hmm.
Do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get
You
out
know,
and do it.
I always tell people that the best workouts I have are the ones that I don't want to do. So like last night, I've been running a lot this week because I'm getting back in shape. I'm doing 150 miles in November, and the goal for me, or the key to my success, has always been when I'm feeling the worst, when I'm tired, when I can't no more, is the moment that I get up and walk out, because I know, and is that when you're 150 miles into a 200-mile race and you're 20 miles away from the next aid station, nobody's going to save you. So I have to learn how to feel uncomfortable all the time. So I guess one of the recommendations that I would give people is be consistent. The moment that you don't want to do it is the moment that you should put those shoes on. Even if you walk for 20 minutes or 15, at least you get out and you get the mind used to you feeling uncomfortable. And uncomfortable could be just putting your shoes on. Uncomfortable could mean just walking 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Anyway, so Vinny, just to finish this, to wrap this up, what are, I know you're a very successful man, businessman. You're out there. People know who you are. You're very well known in social media and in the health and fitness industry. As a successful person as you are, what are 3 things you do on a daily basis to maintain that success, to maintain that level ahead of yours?
Um, one thing I do is I talk about in my book, FQ, failure quotient. Everybody talks about IQ in the world. And I know some of the smartest people I know, they can't get out of bed in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
They think themselves to death. They literally think themselves to death. I think about all of my failure. If you talk to anyone who's ever been successful, they won't tell you how they became successful, but they will sit around and wax poetic about all the failures.
That's
At
right.
least I do. So it's that fear of how do I succeed, So every morning I wake up and go, okay, yesterday was a great day, but today is brand new. It's like, for me, it's Groundhog Day. It's like, okay, we're back at zero again today. You can't rest on yesterday. You can't rest on those laurels. Think of all the friends you have and all of the people who were high school heroes who became nothing, right? They're still resting on their high school laurels, right?
Yep.
No, yesterday was yesterday. You wake up the next day, you wake up and you move. That's one thing that keeps me motivated. The other thing is it was fun when it was fun in games, I guess I could say, when I was just a trainer, because I only had to feed me. That was it. I was in control of me. If I worked hard, I made money, I was able to eat and keep a roof over my head. Now I own a couple of companies, and those companies employ several people, a lot of people. Some of them are full-time employees. Some of them, like the Scott Mulvaney's and the Gina Grads and the Anna Volcinos, I'm just another contract. They're independent contractors, but they count on me every month to stroke a check with their name on it. And when this whole thing happened, part of what I said was, no matter what, I'm going to keep it up and running. And we've been very lucky. We've been making enough money to keep everybody paid.
That's great.
And so every morning I wake up and I go, okay, how can I make sure that Megan and Steffi and Dylan and and Scott and Gina and Anna and everyone around, Chris. The list goes on and on. These people, some of them have kids. Anna has a kid. Gina has a kid. Scott doesn't. But I start thinking about all these people and go, they have mortgages, they have rent, they have kids, they have to eat, and I'm one of the checks they get every month. To me, that's pretty heady shit, and I can't let it fall apart.
No, I get it. I get it. Hey, Vinny, and I know you think I forgot, but I want to share with people here the last little bit of information I want to give them is, let's talk a little bit about your fat documentary.
Good. I thought you were going to bring up something embarrassing.
No, man. Hey,
everybody does that to me. They'll go, tell me about the conch shell.
No. The last thing I want to talk about is a fat documentary that you and your wife, the Bond girl, Serena Scott Thomas, you guys produced that together. It's an amazing movie. It's streaming right now on Amazon. Talk a little bit about that for us, please.
Yeah, people keep asking me when I'm going to do another movie, and I keep reminding them I'm not a filmmaker.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
It's like I got lucky, and everyone, every time one of these bad propaganda movies would come out, like Cowspiracy or Forks Over Knives or What the Hell, these movies would come out. And it would just be these vegan propaganda lies, set forth by PETA and the Seventh-day Adventist. And people kept saying, you should do a movie where you lie in the opposite direction. I said, well, isn't that what the right and the left do in this country? The left creates a really big lie and the right creates this other big lie, and then they go fighting, and the truth is in the middle where they're fighting. And a lot of people don't care about the right or the left, or in the middle, and that's me. I'm like going, why are you guys fighting? Why can't we just do what we always done? Well, I didn't want to create another lie to go fight their lie. So I set out and said, what if we just tell the truth? How about that for a change?
The facts.
And nobody wanted to do it. Peter Pardini said, yeah, that could work. Just, and he goes, how can we put the truth out there to where people will believe it? I said, well, what if we just show a history? History doesn't lie. There's no alternative history, right?
Right.
We know that Hitler was a bad man and that he killed a lot of Jews, right? That's part of history, right? We know that there was World War II, and that's part of history. I said, what if we do that? Show history. So we started in 1863 and showed where the problem started and brought it up to today. And we did it in 90 minutes. It goes through. I'm shocked. It went to #1 on iTunes, beating out Free Solo. That was the hottest movie last summer.
Great movie, by the way, too, as well.
It was. I love that movie. I watched it twice. So we stayed at #1 there for a long time. Amazon kept dicking it around, putting it in the wrong categories, and it was still killing it on Amazon in the wrong category. And then they put it in documentaries, and it went to #1 there, and it did so well that they put it in their Amazon Prime thing, which is like, that's where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steiner International picked up on it, and it's on airlines all over the world, but no one's flying right now, so no one's seeing it on airplanes.
Well, they're watching it. They're watching it on Amazon, though.
Yeah. We just got the last quarter, report in, and I was like, wait a minute, what? That many people? Again, another quarter of people, just blockbuster style numbers, and I'm like sitting here going, who would have thought this? It's a documentary.
Yeah. So the thing, Vinny, about you though is every time. This is one thing about you. You're so humble, and I appreciate that. Sometimes I don't think you give yourself enough credit. When I talk to you about your book, you're like, I don't know how this book became so great, because it's truth. Everything in that book is truth. Your podcast, why is it so popular? It's because it's truth. Nobody ever goes on there and tries to blow smoke up your butt. And they tried one time, the fruit guy, and he didn't make it too far. Right? So, I mean, you talk about, you had cancer and you defeated that and you did it. I mean, you talk about the truth about fat, about sugar, about carbs. The thing is that everything you talk is truth. It's not like you don't have an agenda. You don't need anybody to buy your product. You don't need anybody to listen, but people want to listen. Again, Fat the Documentary, there's no lies there. If you look at every single statement those doctors and scientists talked about, you can actually go back and research and find that they're talking about is truth. So
Yeah.
that's why your movie is so good. You know, some people may not want to hear the truth. That's a different story. But the reason that you're on the Adam Carolla show as a regular guest is because you speak the truth. People want to hear the truth.
Yeah, and I guess the reason I think everything I'm going to do will fail is because everyone tells me, like, when I did the book, the big publishing houses said, you need to change it. You need to put stuff on the cover like how to lose 10 pounds in 10 days. And I refused to do that. That's why, and they were offering me real money. And I was like, no, I can't do that because it's a lie. And they were like, yeah, but that's how you sell books, So they're going, well, you're not going to sell any books. So I'm always shocked because the powers that be tell me it's not going to work because I'm not willing to lie. My vitamin company is the biggest example of that because everyone said, wait, why are you going out of your way to put all of this high price stuff? And I said, because when I grew up, I was poor. But my parents had enough money to send me to a private school because education was important to them. So I was the poor kid at a rich kid's school, right? And they had just enough money to get that tuition paid every year. So all the other kids got all the cool stuff. Like, I was like, you guys are going skiing? You actually have skis? We live in Louisiana.
Yeah.
What does snow even feel like?
Yeah.
So I grew up like that. And I always said, what if the middle class could have what the rich people have? Like when they got a baseball mitt, it was better than the baseball mitt I had, type of thing, right? Everything they had was like a better version of, I got the cheaper version and mine would fall apart.
I know the feeling.
You know what that's like, right? And I didn't come from a poor family, but we were education poor because my parents, they put so much. I used to cry to my mom and dad and go, please just send me to public school. I want a good baseball glove, please. And they wouldn't do it. And I always said, if I can ever create something that the middle class can have, just like the upper class can have, that's what I want. And that's what Pure Vitamin Club is. It's this product at this price. So this is the creme de la creme of vitamins. It's the best vitamin made. And we should be charging double for them, especially the multi-cap. What we put in that vitamin, we could charge double and still get it.
I use the multivitamin and I use Ultra Salt and let me tell you, it's really good stuff. I mean, especially the Ultra Salt. To me, I'm a runner. And I can appreciate it. I can feel it. I can see the difference. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. And it's like when I created the vitamins, it's kind of like when I did the book and everything else, I go, okay, what would Toyota or Honda do? Because when I was a kid, the rich people had Mercedes-Benz.
That's right.
And we would get a Chevy or a Dodge. And they would still have their Mercedes-Benz and we would be on our second or third car because they would keep that car for 10 years, right? And, our cars would break and we'd have to get another one. And, and then Toyota came along and they went, hey, you could get a car at a Chevy price, except it's going to be better than a Mercedes. And I went, what if I can make products like that? What if I could sell something at a Chevy price and make it better than a Mercedes? I can become Honda or Toyota.
That's right.
And that's been my business model. And it's worked for me. It's worked like a charm. I've been in business now for quite a while.
Yeah, man, you're doing some great things, Vinny. And again, man, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. I know you have a heart out. I know you got to go things. You're a busy man. I'm actually doing another interview after this myself. So I really appreciate you coming on. Can you tell people how they can find you on social media? Because if you guys don't know, Vinny is the Twitter master. If you send Vinny a tweet, he's going to respond. So you better be very responsible with your tweeting.
Yes, and if you catch me on Friday or Saturday night, I may be tweeting with a scotch in my hand.
Oh, not good.
It's fun. Yeah. Vinnie, my name is spelled with an I-E, Vinnie Tortorich. Vinnie Tortorich. You can find me on Twitter. I put a lot of stuff on Instagram. My Pure Vitamin Club and Pure Coffee Club is also on Instagram. You can go see what we're doing there. I put a lot of videos up there. People don't know that, but I put a lot of videos on those. And my podcast is called Fitness Confidential. My book is called Fitness Confidential. And my movie is called Fat, a Documentary. It's right there. It's a documentary.
I mean, it's simple. And you're also on the Adam Carolla show. How often are you there? Once a week or once a month, Vinny?
I used to be on twice a month, but since I moved, I'm on once a month. And I'm coming up again soon. I don't have my book in front of me. But sometime in May, I think I saw him on the schedule again. Love doing Adam's show. Great guy.
Good guy. It's a great show. So, Vinny, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you because a lot of these awards and a lot of these medals I wouldn't have if it wasn't for you. At least, you know, most of them would have been DNFs. So I really appreciate all your advice, man.
I hear that. You were a Marine. You know what it takes to be disciplined, and you did every mile to get every one of those, every single mile. So you did the work. All I did was said, "Hey, go eat some pemmican."
Yeah, yeah. I remember you told me go eat. I'm like, it doesn't work. I'm like, I'm gonna disappoint Vinny. Yeah, this is not gonna work for me, man. I'll tell you.
To add some salt to it, man.
Man, you know the best stuff that I've had that you give me, and I know you don't promote it because it is a starch. Is UCAN. That stuff up to this point has really saved me. I hope one day somebody can create something that's similar to that, but it's made of fat.
I got something coming out in July, and I will send you some for free. If you remind me that I said I would send you some.
Yes, for sure. Come on, Vinny. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for listening. I'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Bye.